The World Tourism Day 2020 celebration, with the theme Tourism and Rural Development, is brought to you by the Joji Ilagan International School and organized by Voluptuaria, the tourism program student organization of the Joji Ilagan College of Business and Tourism.
Maligayang araw ng turismo sa mundo.
Malipayang pagsaulog sa turismo.
Ayaw na adlaw ng turismo kanatong hurot.
Maayong adlaw ug malipayong adlaw sa turismo sa kalibutan 2020.
Maayong adlaw sa pagselebra sa turismo sa kalibutan.
Happy World Tourism Day!
Happy World Tourism Day!
Happy World Tourism Day!
Namaste. Vishal, पर्यटन दिवस की शुभकामनाएं.
幸せな世界観光デー 행복한 세계 건강의 날 되세요.
There you go. Look how amazing and staggering rural tourism attractions. So it's indeed an extreme manifestation that we have great things to offer to the people all across the world. Once again, I am Izel Cabrera, one of the tourism instructors of the Joji Ilagan International Schools for Masters of Ceremony for this afternoon session. This is the Global Tourism Student Forum in celebration of World Tourism Day 2020. Tourism and rural development. Right now, let me check. We are all 480, more than 480 in this virtual gathering. And this is actually a ginormous amount of participants. And I would like to personally congratulate in advance the organizing committee of the Joji Ilagan International Schools, the Voluptuary organization. Let us give them our astounding round of applause. There you go. I could hear your virtual round of applause. So to make our forum virtually dynamic and engaging, please see on your screen our webinar etiquette. So let me reiterate to you our webinar etiquette. Use the chat box to interact. You are automatically muted, but in case you are not, please mute your microphone to avoid distractions. Set up your space so you can listen carefully. and use chat box to ask, or you can direct your questions to our specific student speaker later on. So, all right. So I hope that it is all clear. Again, I would like to remind our participants to please go on mute and please use our virtual background. All right, so as we move forward to our forum, let me welcome to you our ever dynamic, industriously diligent, and fervent Chief Operating Officer of the Joji Ilagan International Schools, the one and only Ms. Nicole Nina Aibian Ledesma. Let us give her our virtual clap.
Good afternoon. Mabuhay og madayaw. Good afternoon and welcome to our Global Tourism Student Forum. Good afternoon from Davao City, Philippines. This afternoon, as one, together with the United Nations World Tourism Organization, we are celebrating World Tourism Day with the theme Tourism and Rural Development. With a global pandemic, our industry is facing an unprecedented time. But now more than ever, this reminds us of the important role of tourism, wherein tourism can be a driver of growth and recovery amidst the pandemic. So all over the world, it is very apparent that tourism creates opportunities and empowers our rural communities, most especially for women and youth. And because of that, our dear students, you are all at the forefront of all these opportunities. But like any opportunity that comes your way, this also comes with responsibilities. So I challenge you that even as a student, even as you are now in your own homes, in your own ways, let us be one in advocating for rural tourism and empowerment, because together we can build a better world for everyone. And with that, I congratulate you all for taking this first step by joining this afternoon's session. We have students from the Philippines, from Hong Kong, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Indonesia. So truly, tourism brings everyone together. I would also like to congratulate our tourism student organization, the Voluptuaria, for spearheading this event. Once again, thank you from the Joji Ilagan International Schools. Cheers and mabuhay.
There you go. Thank you so much, Ms. Nicole Nina Haubian. Indeed, of course, with opportunity comes with responsibility, and our responsibility is, of course, to use our powers in promoting our rural tourism. Thank you so much once again, Ms. Nicole Nina Aibian Ledesma. At this moment in time, we are going to be hearing a talk from the Regional Director of Region 11, RD Tanya Rabatan, in ensuring to deliver her speech through this video presentation.
Mabuhay ug madayaw. Good afternoon. I am deeply honored to take part in this event, the World Tourism Day, as the global community unites to celebrate tourism and rural development. Thank you, Joji Ilagan International Schools and its Chief Operating Officer, Nicole Bian Ledesma, and I say hello to all the speaker representatives from the Philippines, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Indonesia, and to everybody participating in this celebration. Davao is a unique region in the Philippines with 5 provinces and the highly urbanized city and the international gateway to the region and the whole of Mindanao, Davao City. Our region has a rich, colorful, and diverse culture. Our culture is our identity as a people. It defines who we are as Filipinos. Our dances, songs, food, and stories are unique and mesmerizing. And I'm happy to see that our culture is very much alive today amidst the evolving world. The heritage we have handed is precious and it is vital to keep it alive. And part of this culture is our unique sense of hospitality, what we call the Filipino brand of service. Davao has made leaps and bounds in the economic standing of the region. Tourism plays a vital role in creating a climate that is conducive to business and investment. This is significant as we push for building sustainable communities where revenues generated can be used in promoting countryside development, in tourism, which can open equal opportunities. Tourism should be connected to the grassroots in order to thrive. Thus, the community plays a vital role. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, Davao Region's tourism scene is booming, with new gems discovered in its islands to highlands splendor. We were enjoying 5 international flights connecting Davao to Doha, Qatar, Singapore, Hong Kong, Xinjiang, China, and Manado, Indonesia. Our top foreign markets are USA, China, Japan, South Korea, and India, while developing markets in the region are Australia, Singapore, Canada, United Kingdom, and the United Arab Emirates. We enjoy the steady growth in tourist arrivals. The COVID-19 pandemic significantly affected the tourism industry in the whole country and the whole world. We in the region experienced an 87% drop in tourist arrivals in the first semester of 2020 due to flight cancellations and lockdowns. Majority of our tourism-related establishments have 50 to 100% disruption in business operations. This impact extends to revenues, production, and workforce. Taking into consideration that travel, which is a core essence of tourism, will be one of the industries to open cautiously and slowly. Furthermore, confidence in government and health service in ensuring the containment and management of the virus will largely affect travel and destination preference of potential tourists. Many tourists got stranded at the onset of the lockdowns and flight cancellations. Our office was able to successfully assist 1,809 foreign tourists and 683 domestic tourists through 17 sweeper flights organized by the Department of Tourism, the different embassies, and the local government of Davao City. To move forward, we will capitalize on gaining the confidence of the tourists, strengthen collaborative efforts between local government units, private sector, and other agencies, leverage on the strengths of the region, provide support in the system that promotes travel within this general community quarantine in the new normal to restart economic activity leading to recovery. We will continue and take it a notch higher to equip our stakeholders with appropriate tools and knowledge, focusing on tourism crisis management and response, special training on new normal, site and visitor management. We push for sound tourism management and development plans in the provinces and cities, and push for programs that promote inclusive growth. This year is a truly challenging time for us. But if for anything, the COVID pandemic led us to rethink our ways. Let us absorb the positive takeaways this has brought us, and I pray that we continue to be safe and protected as we move forward to the new normal. Thank you and good afternoon.
Wow, that was actually indeed an astounding information coming from RD Original Director RD Tanya. Indeed, it was informative and inspiring speech delivered by her. Thank you so much once again. And all right, so at this juncture, let us now proceed to the highest point of this forum, the speaking engagement of the following tourism students from across the globe. So first, I would like to call on Ms. Michelle Jane Asuncion to introduce our first speaker for this afternoon.
Mabuhay o madayaw. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to introduce to all of you our first speaker. He is a representative from the Philippines. He is a student of Joji Ilagan College of Business and Tourism under the program of Bachelor of Science in International Tourism and Management. Our reigning Mr. Tourism Icon 2019 and our current student leader under the Student Supreme Council appointed with the role of Vice President External in Affairs. He is an aspiring cabin crew and artist in progress. Please let me welcome our first speaker representing Philippines, Mr. Raben Jan Spanley Mascareñas.
So good afternoon, everyone. Again, I am Rubenjan Mascareñas, and first, I would like to thank Joji Ilagan College of Business and Tourism, my school, for choosing me as one of the speakers and giving me the opportunity to represent my country, Philippines. So this afternoon, I am going to be discussing about the status or situations of the Philippine tourism industry before, during, and after pandemic or COVID-19. So next slide, please. Mhm. So crystal clear waters, breathtaking white sand beaches, gorgeous green mountains. So these are few examples that visitors will surely enjoy here in the Philippines. The country's rich culture has always been the main reason why foreign and local travelers visit tourist spots or destinations throughout the year, especially during summer. So next slide, please. So according to Philippine Statistic Authority, there was more than 7 million foreign tourists who visited the country during the first 10 months of 2019. Also stated by the Department of Tourism, or DOT, a total of 1.49 million Chinese tourists visited the Philippines. So before the outbreak even happened, Philippine tourism officials then expected to attract 4 million Chinese tourists by 2022. The tourism industry, however, is expected to witness a major impact as the country closed its borders with China and other countries due to the coronavirus infection. And during this COVID-19 pandemic, Philippines has suffered major upheaval in tourism revenues and losing momentum, noting that tourist arrivals in the country hit a record of 8.26 million in 2019. Imagine, 8.26 million. So next slide, please. And next slide, please. Okay, so because of this virus, many countries have taken precautionary measures. And for our Philippine President, Rodrigo Duterte, he had declared an enhanced community quarantine, or so what we called ECQ, and travel restrictions nationwide that may last at least until the 30th of April. However, up until today, Philippines is still on process or is still fighting against the crisis. The hospitality and tourism industry are greatly affected by today's pandemic. Such industry is a great factor and a great contributor of a growing economy. Bookings were scheduled, flights were halted, temporarily stopped offering a service and or products. So these are few of the existing problems that the COVID-19 pandemic had brought up. Next slide, please. Next slide. Thank you. So
All
one
right,
of the top
Mr. Ruben, I think that our other participants could not. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can we adjust our microphone? And I would like to request our participants to please go on mute so we can clearly hear the presentation of our student speaker this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Uh, Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yes,
Go
Ben.
ahead.
I'm
Yes.
very sorry for the inconvenience. So you continue.
Ben.
One
Yes,
of the
yes.
top one of the top repeated questions that leaders and citizens across the world are asking is how do we really restart the tourism sector and our economy after COVID-19? People were and are deprived of having to travel overseas. People will long for new discoveries and experiences, then there is no doubt that the population of tourist visitors will increase after COVID-19. The beautiful islands of the Philippines will once again attract tourists after this pandemic. During this time, the country should take this opportunity to rebuild their locality by helping key players to improve skills and digitalize. They should also construct new strategy to do business and ensure compliance with safety and health standards, which we so called the new normal. Promoting medical tourism and agritourism must be among the plans that the country should prioritize to help reestablish the sector. While Philippines is experiencing hardships at this time, Filipinos should remember the combination of effort and skills the country's tourism sector and economy was able to grow in the past few years or decades and made it one of the top GDP contributors. So with the country's renewed commitment, Filipinos can be confident that the tourism industry will achieve the best outcome after this pandemic. Next slide, please. So that is why having such forum, like this one, the Global Tourism Student Forum in celebration of World Tourism 2020, tourism and rural development is an important key and factor in creating awareness across culture. So that ends my presentation for everyone. I'm sorry for the inconvenience and again, thank you for listening and that would be all. Thank you.
All right, that was Mr. Rubenjan Mascarenhas from Joji Ilagan International Schools, Philippines. Let us give him our virtual clap. Yes, I could hear 300 virtual claps. There you go. So moving on with our second speaker, to introduce our second student speaker, we have Ms. Rica May Abordo.
Buhay ug Madayaw. I would like to introduce to you our second speaker for this afternoon. She was a student of Hong Kong Polytechnic University College of Professional. She is currently continuing her year 2 of education in higher diploma in events management. All the way from Hong Kong, let us virtually give her a round of applause. Miss Erica Sit.
Hello, everyone. Because I have a PowerPoint, may I get the access? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Oh,
Go
okay,
ahead.
okay. Okay. Just wait a second. Okay. Hey. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Erica Sit from Hong Kong Poly College of Professional and Continuing Education, and I'm year 2 student studying in high diploma in event management. First, I would like to thanks for having me to share this presentation, and today's topic is tourism pre, in, and post-pandemic. Tourism is one of the pillar industries in Hong Kong, so how Hong Kong survived from this time, let me tell you now. Actually, before the COVID-19, there are over 65 million visitors come to Hong Kong every year. Many organizations will hold large-scale events and the tourism board will introduce different attractions, so there are over 65 million visitors every year. But the COVID-19 came suddenly, and we are so close to Wuhan, so the virus spread rapidly. And meanwhile, the social movement is happening. It has dealt a health blow to Hong Kong's tourism, which is given that so far 40 countries have issued advice with high degree of caution. In response to such situation, the Hong Kong Tourism Board has made adjustments. The large-scale tourism promotion events to be held in the coming 6 months are all suspended or even cancelled. It is a situation that we never met before. The virus spread across the world, and many traveling agencies and hotels are suffering from it. To offset the tourist demand, hotels have launched discount package. Agencies and hotels have rolled out different sale promotions for Hong Kong people. It is quite a success as the fear of staying overnight is expensive before the COVID-19. But now people can book a room with a cheaper price and high quality service. And those are the discount. There are some 50% off or even more. Therefore, we can see that the staycation have been a strategy that many hotels will like to advertise in Hong Kong. And one of them are really special I would like to share with you guys is the theme park hotel, Hong Kong Ocean Marriott Hotel, which has launched the Pulse on Vacation package starting from 999 Hong Kong dollars only. So you can stay overnight with your pet and take a good rest. And to break out this dilemma, the Hong Kong government is planning to create the travel bubble, so Hong Kongers can travel between neighboring or nearby countries, the same as others. Besides, Hong Kong Tourism Board will face that the Open House Hong Kong platform will launch when the preparation is done. It is a platform for mainland visitors especially, as mainland visitors are the largest visitors base. Okay. And that is one of our advantages which can be used. It is confirmed that they will have international large-scale exhibition activities. For instance, the Asia Conference on Kinesiology and the International Air Transport Association. Hong Kong Tourism Board believes that the coming years will gain considerable income from high expenditure exhibition visitors. And that is how they envision tourism after this pandemic. And it is a hard time for us, and I strongly believe that we can overcome it. And that is all I have for today. Hope you guys gain more ideas on Hong Kong tourism during this pandemic, and happy Tourism Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Erica Sit. That was indeed very informative. For sure, Hong Kong will be back soon. That was Miss Erica Sit from Hong Kong Polytechnic University. And moving on with our third student speaker to be introduced to us by Miss Cheveline Lorejo.
Madayao and mabuhay. Born and bred in the island of Borneo, Sabah, and pursued career as well furthering studies in West Malaysia with a diploma of tourism management in an institute technology to Abdul Razak, and has a bachelor's degree with honors from Open University, Malaysia, and now a postgraduate student in Master in Tourism Management in University Technology Mara, Malaysia. She is highly passionate about tourism and travel, as well as sustaining the environment for the future generation. She have been working in tourism industry for the last 16 years and also anticipated on continue contributing in the growth of tourism economy and on how relevant educating public on sustainable tourism in the preparation of the future generation. She also believes that tourism have no boundaries and limitations. The industry change rapidly, therefore continuous education in this field is essential. Let's give a warm welcome to very inspiring young woman, Sharma Daisy Sundrang.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon from Malaysia. Thank you to one can hear me. I'm going to share my screen right now. Right. Since it's a World Tourism Celebration Day, the topic was given to us was about the pre, in, and the post-pandemic of COVID. So what I'm going to present is about what Malaysia has faced. Before COVID, Malaysia has planned for the Visit Malaysia Year 2020, which we would like to target 30 million tourist arrival with 100 billion receipt, with the tagline of Visit Truly Asia Malaysia 2020. However, this vision of the Visit Malaysia Year 2020 has been planned 2 years before 2020. So before the COVID-19 attack, or the pre-COVID-19 attack, Malaysia still believe that we can proceed with the Visit Malaysia Year 2020. Arrivals, reception, and we're also conducting Pata, Kota Kinabalu, and various cultural performance to invite international tourists all over abroad, as we noted that we want to break whatever arrivals we have in the previous year and to reach 30 million this year. However, on the 18th March 2020, the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture Malaysia has announced that the Visit Malaysia Year 2020 is cancelled due to the global pandemic that has attacked Malaysia. Basically, after the announcement has been made, Malaysia also faced the movement order control, which is so strict, taken into this that all arriving passengers abroad has to undergo through quarantine strictly. Moving on, during COVID in Malaysia, the government of Malaysia promote the Cuti Malaysia at home, a dream to travel by Pata, as well as also conduct online training for all stakeholders in Malaysia. This is actually, all of this actually is to encourage and sustain tourism economic in Malaysia, especially for tourist guides. The training basically is all for frontliners who can't communicate with tourists. So therefore the training is important for them to be at home and to learn what's next after COVID. Because after COVID, there are a lot of things that need to be ensured of safety of people. And during this COVID also, the Tourism Malaysia take initiative to promote all kind of packages, and they work with various travel agents, promoting packages through Facebook, using YouTube and other platforms. During COVID also, recently in August, the campaign Cuti Malaysia, it's a video promo that they promoted in various channels in Malaysia, as well as they provide incentive for governments, civil servants to go for holidays with special rate. And for all Malaysians that going for a holiday in Malaysia, especially for the year 2020, they are given a rebate of tax of 1,000 ringgit. Let's just move to the graph looking at Malaysia tourist arrival. As you can see, Malaysia tourist arrival is never below of 25 million. But since April 2020, it punched down into 5,000 or less than 5,000 until June. This is the record that we have until now. So you see how badly this has affected Malaysia and all other stakeholders. However, basically the government is trying their best to help the stakeholders. Therefore, the government of Malaysia has conducted also a survey on domestic travel in Malaysia to all domestic travelers. Their plan to travel after COVID, or will they travel after COVID, and what is their perspective towards stakeholders, and what is the expectation. So conclusion from Malaysia, basically, Malaysia has faced various global pandemic, started with SARS from the year 2002, and then MERS, and now COVID. But throughout all this pandemic, Malaysia has bounced back to welcome international tourists abroad. However, for COVID-19, it's a totally a different scenario because it actually affected globally, and it has cut or break the connection of flights internationally, which shut down the whole world. However, Malaysia we believe actually that tourism, not only in Malaysia, but globally will once again bounce back, but it will take longer time to recover with a new norm. And the travel pattern of tourists also will change. For sure, it with Spanish flus. So if you see the travel pattern also change. Finally, government, NTOs, and countries abroad around the world must work hand in hand to eliminate and control this pandemic. With that, thank you, and terima kasih from Malaysia.
Terima kasih, Ms. Sharma Daisy. She was our student speaker representative from Malaysia. Before we move on to our fourth student speaker, I would just like to highlight what she have made mention, because I just love how, or I admire how Malaysian government have done its ways in bouncing back their tourism. They are utilizing the digital platform for them to showcase or promote their local tourists to their local destinations to their local tourists, and their ways in mitigating the pandemic. Thank you so much. Terima kasih, Sharma Daisy Sandram from University Technology, Mara, Malaysia. Moving on with our fourth student speaker, we have Ms. Dayang Sherman Mahadali.
Mabuhay ug madayaw, it is my honor to formally introduce to you our next international tourism student speaker for this afternoon. Our guest of honor and speaker was born on June 16, 1999, and is currently studying his bachelor's in tourism and travel management at Dui Tan University Hospitality and Tourism Institute. He became a part-time sales staff at Helio Night Market, where he sells Vietnamese produce to foreigners and locals. This has paved the way in improving his English communication and customer relationship skills. He is now working as a part-time receptionist at Helio Center that help him to unleash his interpersonal skill. His hobbies include reading historical books and working out. All the way from Vietnam, ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome virtually our speaker, Mr. Phang Tan Son. A virtual round of applause, please.
Hello, Mr. Thanson Pan.
Yes. Hello, everyone. How are you?
We're doing
I hope
fine.
you are doing all well. Hello.
Yeah, we're here listening to you.
My name is Thanh Xuân. I am a student at the Hospitality Tourism Institute, Duy Tân University, Vietnam. It is such a great honor for me to have this opportunity to join this student forum today. And so my presentation is about tourism pre, in, and post-pandemic Vietnam case. And so there will be three main contents in my presentation, which are part one, Vietnam tourism statistic pre and in pandemic. Part two, impacts on tourism industry, and part three, solution for Vietnam tourism industry. So let's move to the first part, Vietnam tourism statistic pre and in pandemic. As you can see from the graph, in a recent year,
I'm sorry to cut you off. I would like to request our participants to please pay respect to our student speaker as he is delivering his presentation. Again, requesting our participants to please go on mute and pay respect to our student speakers. Thank you so much. Please go ahead, Mr. Than.
And as you can see from the graph on the screen, in recent years, especially in 2019, Vietnam tourism industry has developed rapidly and achieved important results with an interesting number of international visitors. However, with the hit of first outbreak of COVID-19 in Vietnam in January 2020, this number had dramatically decreased. And so to more specific, the number of international visitors to Vietnam in January 2020 was more than 1,900,000 arrivals, increased 32.8% over the same period of 2019. And in March 2020, the Vietnam tourism witnessed a shocking decrease in international visitor number, which is just about 449,000, and it decreased 68.1% over the same period of 2019. And in August 2020, this number was 163,000 and decreased 99% over the same period of 2019. And so that's the figure. What are the impact on the tourism industry according to the Vietnam National Administration of Tourism? The damage of tourism industry from February to April 2020 is about $7.7 billion US dollars. And the unemployment rate in a tourism sector is 80 to 90%. And due to the suspension of international flights, the rate of international visitors decreased 99%. And I know that is such a gloomy picture. Vietnam government had a very effective strategies to help tourism in recovering. In May 2020, Vietnam Administration of Culture, Sport and Tourism launched a national tourism stimulus program, Vietnamese People Travel Vietnam. and it targets to popularize tourism destination and tourism products and as a reasonable price through communication campaigns to attract domestic tourists. This program brought a positive effect to the number of domestic tourists increased strongly in May, June, and July, with an effective strategy in controlling the second wave in late July 2020. The Vietnam Administration of Culture, Sports, and Tourism had just continued to launch the domestic tourism stimulus program in the last month of 2020. And in the phase, the program of theme safe and attractive Vietnam tourism. And even better than that, the government has allowed the resumption of international commercial flights to 7 Asia destinations, include Japan, China, Korea, Thailand, Taiwan, Laos, Cambodia, and the international flights bring a much brighter picture for Vietnam tourism as visitors from the country are their majority visitors to Vietnam every year. And so as a student in hospitality and tourism, I really appreciated the positive movements from the Vietnam government. They did a very great job controlling the pandemic, and now I recovering the tourism industry in specific and the economy in general, step by step. And I do believe that the pandemic will be controlled worldwide soon, and tourism will be back strongly as it was before. And I hope, and that's all my presentation today. I hope welcome all you to come my beautiful country, Vietnam, very soon. And thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Indeed. Come on, Ban, Mr. Than. He is from Vietnam. Indeed, we are going to join Vietnam in your next adventure. Hopefully, we could really bounce back in terms of international travel. So again, Mr. Than Son Phan from Doi Tan University Hospitality and Tourism Institute. Let us give him our virtual clap. There you go. And finally, to introduce our final and fifth student speaker, we have Miss Janine Carla Galvez.
Mabuhay ug madayaw. A 3-year travel management business student of Bali Tourism Polytechnic who's very interested in tourism and travel in particular. She is also very active in various tourism activities, such as attending conferences and volunteerism to be specific. She has experience in TF Scale Outbound program in Singapore in the year 2019. A volunteer of IMF WBG in the year 2018. She is also a speaker during Young Awareness on HIV/AIDS in 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, a future tourism professional who loves music, movie, and tourism. Ida Ayu Kuzumi Dewi.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to say thank you so much for Joji Ilagan School for having me as a speaker on this occasion. I would like to start my presentation today. I would like to talking about the development of tourism industry and rural development in Indonesia and how to survive in this pandemic. First of all, I would like to give some introductions of tourism development. As we know, in the recent decades in Indonesia, the tourism industry has shown sustained growth in both revenues and number of tourists. And it impacts a lot of sectors such as economic, social, and cultural, and almost every part of the world. And especially in developing countries, one of the primary motivations for a country to promote itself as a tourist destination is the expected economic improvement, mainly through the foreign exchange earnings, contributions to government's revenues, and generations of employment and business opportunities. Well, as we're talking about the basis of the tourism development is the tourism infrastructure. Why the tourism infrastructure is the basis of the tourism development? Because it's a utilization of destination resources. And it's very important the tourism infrastructure is reflected in the fact that it can contribute to increasing the efficiency of productions and distribution to tourism services, even in the remote areas. For example, like in Indonesia, there are a lot of places in Indonesia, other places like Java and Bali, because Indonesia is the biggest archipelago in the world. So it's quite difficult to have a utilization destination resources in all of city in Indonesia. And as we know, how to develop the tourism development, how to develop tourism in Indonesia is the first one is to increase local tourists and also to increase a lot of tourists come to our destinations. The first one is travel industry has an important role to change our people lives in Indonesia. Because of tourism, it can reducing poverty in Indonesia and fostering tolerance and peace through intercultural exchange and understanding. Well, talking about travel and tourism sector in Indonesia, before pandemic, the travel and tourism sector requires the hotel and resort industry to provide accommodations for people visiting new destinations. As we know, the Ministry of Tourism Indonesia has built 10 new Bali to increase tourists come to Indonesia. So we can see at past 5 years, 4.3 million people across 739,000 business over the past 5 years come to Indonesia, and it make the tourism industry has grown by 3.2% per year. So now in Indonesia, foreign tourist arrival in Indonesia tumbled down into 89.12% year on year. So it makes a lot of tourism sector like hotel, restaurant, even in Indonesia has stuck because of this pandemic. And tourism in Indonesia in pandemic. The situations in Indonesia with more than 81,000 cases, this is shaking in the nation, and death stopping more than 300. It makes Indonesia should prepare a lot to our health. So that's the main reason why the Ministry of Tourism Indonesia built a new program. It's called CHSE for to increase our tourists with health protocol. And next, as I said that Indonesia is the biggest archipelago in the world, so it's quite difficult to do rural development in Indonesia. So Indonesia needs to design a new strategy to improve the economic and social life of rural poor. It is a process which aims at improving the well-being and self-realizations of people living outside the urbanized areas through collective process. And it is the main factor, the differentiating rural marketing from urban marketing. The first one is the infrastructure availability, because it's quite hard to build electricity supply, facility, and education level in remote areas in Indonesia. So that's the main reason why it's quite difficult that Indonesia have a same infrastructure because Indonesia is the biggest archipelago in the world. And I would like to share a brief profile about how development in Indonesia before pandemic in 2017. As we can see, this one is North Sumatra, is the Sumatra Island. It's about 5.1% growth of GDP, and in Kalimantan Island, it's about 4.1 percentage the growth of GDP in Indonesia, and in Sulawesi it's 7.2, and in Papua 4.8,
and in Java 5.5, and in West Nusa Tenggara and East Nusa Tenggara is about 4.4. So that's the main reason, because the city in Indonesia is separated by sea, and it's quite difficult for the government in Indonesia to build a lot of infrastructure and facilities. So the efforts of Indonesia is about 5.2% percentage for development in Indonesia in 2017. This is the target national development policies. The target national development policies is to both supply and demand and side interventions such as provisions of better school, health service, transfer of funds, and aim to reach the poor. But because of this pandemic, it's quite difficult to build a better education, because as we know, there's a lot of crises such as crisis of health, crisis of education, and also crisis economic in Indonesia because of this pandemic. Well, final remarks. Finally, tourism has a very important role for the development of a country. Therefore, equitable distributions of infrastructures and facilities has a very important role to support the sustainability of all sectors. I still wish that this pandemic will end up soon, so the government could put extra effort into controlling our pandemic with a truly aggressive method of testing, tracing, isolation, and treating patients so that economic recovery and opportunities for tourism interactions with other countries are increasingly open. So the Ministry of Tourism Indonesia is try to promote Indonesia with other ways, such as from virtual, and invite a lot of influencers in Indonesia to promote local destinations to local citizens in Indonesia. Lastly, I have a final video. This is the harmonizations between the cultural heritage and also the nature in Indonesia.
Before the earth was divided into regions, we were born with all our differences.
Mom, look at that! Mom, why is my skin white and theirs are not?
That's what we call differences, honey. And we're supposed to take care of one another. It's beautiful, right? As time goes on, views and values towards something develop, whether they're good or bad. These opinions won't divide them.
Pegang baik-baik layangannya supaya tidak putus.
It will make them stronger. This is who they are. Isn't it so much better than how you thought it will be?
Berarti iki sedu dipelajari ben ora ilang budayane.
Mother Earth. Its radiance. Its greatness. Its beauty will never fail. It's outstanding.
It's amazing. I want to feel this forever.
It will always radiate the truth without needing to say anything. even the development of modern life can never break them. Because they are one. From the deepest part of my heart, standing here beside them isn't just about the journey, but it's also about the feeling. The feeling that will never run out and will never be fade. Because you will keep seeing and finding new wonders here. Wonders that are priceless. Feel the wonders in finding where you feel the most alive. For me, it's here. This line will always win. The more you feel, the more you know.
Yeah, that's my video about Indonesia. Lastly, I would like to say thank you so much for having me as a speaker. I do apologize if there is any mistakes. And thank you so much for listening. Happy World International Tourism Day and have a nice day, everyone.
All right, thank you so much. Terima kasih Daayo Kasumi Dewi for that very inspiring presentation that you have showed to us. Indeed, the rich culture of Indonesia makes it wonderful Indonesia. And I really believe that Indonesia and the rest of the world will be back soon. Our industry will be back soon. All right, so what an inspiring enlightening information and details from our future tourism professionals. Let us give them our amazing virtual clap, please. Yes, I could hear 500 virtual claps, and I'm hoping that everyone gain insights and learn from all of those brief but very invigorating topics we have this afternoon. At this time, we will now be signing the certificate of recognition to our dearly student speakers who have fostered knowledge into our minds. So let me read to you the citation first. The Joji Ilagan International Schools awards this certificate of appreciation to Ruben Jan Mascarenhas for imparting his valuable knowledge as a student speaker during the Global Tourism Student Forum with the topic Tourism Pre, In, and Post-Pandemic in celebration of the World Tourism Day 2020. Tourism and Rural Development, hosted by the Joji Ilagan International Schools, Davao City, Philippines, given this 26th day of September 2020 via Zoom video conferencing, signed by the Vice President for Education Development and Chief Operating Officer of the Joji Ilagan International Schools, Ms. Nicole Nina Ibian Ledesma. Let us give Mr. Jan Mascarenhas our virtual clap.
Thank you, everyone.
The same certificate of appreciation is also awarded to Ms. Erica Set. The same certificate of appreciation is also awarded to Sharma Daisy Sandram.
Thank you. Thank you to the hosts and the universities. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We also have Fan Son Fan.
Thank you very much, and thank you for Tourism Student Forum today. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kaman Ban. And finally, we have the same certificate of appreciation is also awarded to Ida Ayu Kusumi Dewi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joji Ilagan International School. Happy World Tourism Day.
There you go. Terima kasih. Thank you so much, Kam on Ban. Or thank you so much to our student speakers for this afternoon's session. For the evaluation, I would like to request our participants to please evaluate our event or virtual gathering so that we can make our service more engaging in our future webinars or forum. Thank you so much. You may screenshot or take a photo of our QR code so that you can evaluate our event. There you go. So before we proceed to our photo opportunity, let us have a synopsis to be given to us by Officer of Developed Organization of what we have learned, gained insights of those information, details, and topics expressed by our student speakers a while back. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Perry Chara.
So, mabuhay og madayaw. I am Perry Marihara and I'm from Joji Ilagan International School's College of Business and Tourism. So, in conclusion, tourism is a major economic activity that has developed over the years. Tourism is an activity that can be recognized that can be recognized in developed and developing countries. We are all affected by this pandemic, and before the pandemic happens, our tourism, all of our tourism industry has shown sustained growth in both revenues and tourism sector. Millions of tourists is visiting our countries. We have served our tourists the best service that we can, and we have the stable government. Promoting ourselves as that tourism destination, and when the pandemic happens and the impacts of COVID-19 in tourism industry, we have canceled our flights, reduced the level of operations, and of course, we have decreased of tourist arrivals. It affects many jobs and damage the economy. And from what I've learned from our speakers, we may have different solutions, but of course, it will be all recognized by our government. Promoting the medical tourism and agritourism, utilizing the use of technology, and continue to domestic tourism promotions, and of course, develop reopening of flights, and we should cooperate to control and eliminate this pandemic. This COVID-19 also changed the whole game in tourism industry, but surely we will all bounce back. To our speakers, thank you so much for the very informative presentation. It is our opportunity to listen to all of you. Thank you so much, and it is nice to meeting you all.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shara. And now the moment that we have waiting for is finally over. We will now be having our unified virtual photo opportunity. So with that, please turn on your cameras and we will be giving you 5 minutes to prepare yourselves or download the virtual background according to the country you're from. If you are not yet using it, and please see the link of the virtual background of the chat box for those who have not downloaded it yet. There you go. Let me check. There you go. There you go. Very nice. All right, fix yourselves a little bit so we can have an amazing photo opportunity. Let me just explain to you in a while the unified virtual how do you say this? Virtual posts, I would have to say that way. Since we are having this, or we are experiencing as one, no, we are experiencing this pandemic, we will also be bouncing back as one. No, we have this one JIB as one family, because since you have attended in this virtual gathering of Joji Ilagan International Schools, you are actually part of what we called one family in Joji Ilagan International Schools, wherever you are in the world. And one pertains to as one nation, one world, in celebrating World Tourism Day, in bouncing back in our tourism industry, and one in fighting this pandemic for us to have a COVID-free world. All right, I think that all of our participants are now ready for the photo opportunity. I am very excited because we are 514 in this virtual gathering. And thank you so much for joining us in this virtual gathering. I am very much flattered, and the rest of the team is in in gratitude and bliss. All right, so let's have one JIB and one world in celebrating World Tourism Day. Let's have one, this one. There you go. All right, at the count of 3, may I request our virtual photographer to give us a good snap. All right, 1, 2, 3. Give yourself a smile. Another pose, because you are 514. 1, 2, 3, smile. There you go. So thank you so much to our participants. So we also have like Waki. We have this heart because we are extending our love to the rest of the world. Smile. There you go. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining us in this virtual gathering. And to before we move on, or we close this virtual gathering, I would like to call on the president of the volunteer organization of the Joji Ilagan International Schools with his closing remarks.
So, mabuhay ug madayaw. I hope everyone had a wonderful engagement, had a learning, and made your day productive. Before we end this forum, first and foremost, I, Carmen Grace Altizo, President of the Voluptuaria or Tourism Organization of the Joji Ilagan International Schools, would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you who gathered virtually, coming from different parts of the world for your amazing participation. It is my privilege and honor to be entrusted with such undertakings. Through this global forum of tourism students, our minds have been assailed by torrent ideas, information, interpretations, and visions. Indeed, there are still plenty to reflect, to enhance as a future tourism professionals, to contribute to the global challenges in tourism industry for more opportunities, for a better world to live. On behalf of the Voluptuaria organization, my deepest and warmest thank you to our international tourism student speakers from Hong Kong, Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Philippines for the overwhelming insights that broaden our knowledge and understanding. This event wouldn't be successful without you. And most especially to our ever dynamic and supportive Chief Operating Officer of the Joji Ilagan International Schools, Ms. Nina Nicole Halbiano Ledesma. To the organization's moderator, Ms. Joji Rose Parando Ang, co-moderators, Mr. Isel Cabrera and Ms. Janine Carla Galvez for the guidance and great contributions. To my fellow officers, thank you, of course, for your time, effort, and hard work to make this event successful. Lastly, let me just share to you my thought from our COO that as we are in the age of new normal and make this digital as part of our daily lives, and it may seem hard to readjust our goals in life, let us not just think outside of the box, but rather think as if there is no box, where sky is the only limit. And as a future tourism professionals, we continue to contribute or to lift the tourism industry that has been greatly affected by this pandemic. At the end of the day, it's about adaptability as we create opportunity. Thank you and all the best.
That was Miss Carmen Grace Altizo. Thank you so much for giving us your closing remarks again. Before we formally end this virtual gathering, allow me to express as well my gratitude and congratulations to the volunteer organization of the Joji Ilagan International Schools and to the participating schools all across the Asia. We have from Hong Kong, we also have from Malaysia, Indonesia, and Vietnam, and all the participating institutions in the Philippines. Thank you so much. And as one family in this world, let us use our power in lifting up our industry back by using our ability and creativity in adapting to a new normal. Indeed, we can't go surfing if we don't go with the waves. Let us continue to inspire ourselves in unleashing our passion and commitment for excellent tourism industry. Let us continue to help as one, win as one, hail as one family. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Isel Cabrera, your host, signing off. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the day. Don't forget to, if you want to express your heartfelt gratitude in your social media, you may use our official hashtag in World Tourism Day. We have hashtag WTD 2020, hashtag World Tourism Day 2020, hashtag World Tourism Day, hashtag Voluptuaria, hashtag Joji Ilagan International Schools, and of course, hashtag your own schools. Thank you so much, and God bless us all.